I've been in this space for years. I have watched the hype cycles, the moonshots, the this changes everything moments. And tonight, I'm going to say something that a lot of people don't want to hear, but it needs to be said out loud. Bitcoin is not the answer everyone seems to think it is. It is highly manipulated. Every day, more and more and more information and lawsuits are coming out about this. It really does almost nothing useful at scale. And it has been absolutely ruined by the very institutions that were never supposed to touch it. So let's start at the beginning here. We all fell in love with the dream, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. No banks, no governments, no middlemen, just pure decentralized money that anyone with an internet connection could use, control, and trust. Satoshi gave us a white paper and a protocol that felt like rebellion in code. And for a while, that dream was alive. We mined on laptops, traded on forums, believed we were building a new financial system from the ground up. But fast forward to today, and what do we actually have? A $1 trillion asset whose price can be crashed by a handful of wallets. Now, that's not theory. That's daily reality. A few large holders, whales, institutions, ETF desks, decide to sell a chunk. The order books evaporate. Leverage gets wiped out. Retail panics, and the whole market bleeds 10, 15 to 20% in hours. Then the same players quietly buy the dip OTC, rinse, and simply repeat. This isn't decentralization. This is a new centralized power structure wearing a Bitcoin hoodie. And who runs the show now? Because it ain't you. The institutions, BlackRock, Fidelity, Wall Street banks, corporate treasuries. The moment that spot Bitcoin ETFs launched, the game changed forever. What was supposed to be not your keys, not your coins, became not your keys, but BlackRock's custodian has them, and they're lending them out, rehypothecating them, and using them as collateral in ways that we will never fully see. The institutions that you all wanted, that you couldn't wait for, that you cheered for, they didn't come to liberate money. They came to extract yield from it. They came to treat Bitcoin like any other risk asset that they can front run, arbitrage, and dump when macro conditions shift. We've watched it happen. Aggressive net selling, record outflows from the very ETFs that were supposed to be the adoption miracle. One bad week of flows and the price gets slammed. That is not a store of value. That is a plaything. A store of value is supposed to preserve purchasing power over time. Now, gold has done it throughout human history, thousands of years with relatively steady volatility. Even the dollar, as flawed as it is, and it is brutally flawed, doesn't swing 30% in a month, and you know I'm right. But Bitcoin does regularly. One regulatory headline, one whale tweet, one ETF redemption wave, and your digital gold turns into a digital roller coaster. If you're using Bitcoin to store the money you need for your kids' college or your retirement in 10 years, you're not storing value. You're gambling and calling it strategy. And here's the part that really stings. I know you don't want to hear it, but it's true. Bitcoin doesn't actually do anything useful at scale. It's not necessary. 7 transactions per second on the base layer, 10-minute block times. When the network gets busy, fees go through the roof, and normal people can't even move their own money without waiting hours or paying $50 damn. That is not electronic cash. That is not a global payment rail. Now, Lightning Network, it helps on the edges, but it's a Band-Aid on a protocol that was never designed for everyday use. The base chain, it's slow, it's clunky, and intentionally limited. So what are we left with? We're left with a digital collectible that people speculate on and institutions trade like a leveraged stock. Now, I know the narrative. I hear them. I can go on Twitter right now and see it. The narrative says, number go up forever. The reality is, number go wherever the big money decides it's going to go today. Meanwhile, the real revolution in this space is happening somewhere else entirely. It's happening with teams that took the best parts of blockchain: immutability, decentralization, trustless verification, and applied them to actual, painful, real-world problems. Not number go up. Problems like, who actually controls my data? Why does every cloud provider scan, monetize, or lose my files? Why do I have to trust a corporation with my private photos, medical records, business documents? How do we create verifiable ownership without relying on centralized gatekeepers? How do we build systems where individuals can prove identity, credentials, or rights without handing everything over to a single entity? And that's where the magic is. These are the projects that are truly disruptive, not Bitcoin. These are the teams using blockchain the way it was always designed to be used, as neutral, unbiased, open infrastructure to solve problems people face every single day. They're building tools for data sovereignty, storage, decentralized identity, tamper-proof records, secure sharing, and ownership that can't be revoked and that cannot be censored. These teams are not chasing the next hype cycle. They're creating it. Trying to become the new Wall Street casino, they're not doing. They're quietly delivering utility that centralized systems have failed to provide: privacy by default, censorship resistance, and true user control, because you don't have that now. This is what real disruption looks like. Not another layer 2 gambling token, not another digital gold that trades like a meme stock, because that's all it is. Real teams using real blockchain technology to give individuals power that they never had before. So let me leave you with this little challenge tonight. Stop worshiping the ticker. Stop pretending that a volatile, institution-controlled digital asset with almost no utility is going to fix the financial system. It won't. It can't. And it was never designed to. Start looking at the projects that are quietly building the actual tools of the future. The ones solving privacy, sovereignty, ownership. The ones that provide necessary, in-demand, real-world utility. If you want to be part of the real revolution, the way it always should have been, seek out these builders. Support the teams that are delivering practical applications where the blockchain actually works for people instead of the other way around. Because the future isn't Bitcoin maxis screaming, number go up. The future is individuals taking back control of their money, their data, their digital lives, one practical, well-built application at a time.